Hello and welcome to Talk of the Game. It's match preview against Watford, who haven't played since the 10th of December against West Ham United. Kick-off tomorrow, the 28th, 3 p.m, just 48 hours after West Ham's last game. Gonzo, as always, can I get your thoughts on your opponents, Watford, please?
Yeah, funny club, really. They perennially swap their managers around. They certainly, well, they did so this season, as they tend to most seasons, and they got Ranieri in, of course, which was, I think, not a lot of people saw that coming, really, did they? But he immediately got a lift from them. I felt really got creating and scoring goals, and really looking like a good attacking force. Obviously, it's tailed off a little bit after that, but as a model, as a club, it is a weird one. It really is, Geo. This way that they run, I was going to say they're clubs, because the umbrella company actually owns several different clubs. I don't know what the model is. Maybe the model's there just to make, I don't know, 10 million profit of each club each season or something like that. I really don't know. I'm not sure it's a model that is going to allow you to win anything or compete or contest at the highest level. I think you can do it when you're Chelsea. So players are so good, it almost incrementally improving the manager, get the best out of these world-class players, you win stuff. At a lesser club, I think it's difficult to keep swapping managers, but it sort of works if that's what you're after. They yo-yo a bit, and but I do wonder if Watford fans might want a little bit more stability at some point and to actually build something. It doesn't ever feel to me that Watford are building.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think to compare it to something, I'd probably compare it to sort of fast fashion, if you like, where you go down to somewhere like Primark, you can pick up your clothes quite cheap. It only lasts a short period of time, but then you've got to get rid of them and go get other stuff. So it's cheap, it works, short term happy, but long term, is it really worth it? Can you really do that? Can you keep doing it? It's generally quite expensive, and like you said, there's no long term thing there out of it. And I agree with you. The chopping the manager thing, does it work? Arguably, it did. It's got them promoted. It's given them a reasonable, well, I say reasonable, it's given them a small chance of remaining in the Premier League kind of thing. But you would imagine at some point they're going to have to say, well, we need something here. But I guess to counter argue that, they'll say, well, there is long term stuff here. We, the board, we are the long term parts of it. We're the long term components. Retail, for example, is another industry that has a high turnover of management, so on and so forth. But yet they still succeed, kind of thing. And I think it's an interesting thing. And the funny thing is, this season, the three promoted clubs all follow completely different blueprints. So usually when you're perhaps a lower league club, you look at the more successful ones of that division and think, can we copy what they're doing in order for us to be successful? But given that Norwich has come up on a relatively small budget, well-run club, and then Brentford have come up following stats and data and numbers, led by something that not many other clubs are led by. Then you've got Watford that are just completely differently run to them as well. So we've got three clubs come up with three different models. One of them may stay up, two of them may stay up, maybe all three of them will remain up, although that looks unlikely at present. I agree with you. Your first phase probably sort of sums up Watford. A funny club. No one really knows what's going on unless normally when you're a neutral, you can get an outside view on how certain clubs are run. You think, yeah, right, you can pick it up quite quickly. But Watford, I imagine you'd have to research quite deeply into the runnings of the club and stuff like that. Maybe Watford fans watching this will educate us a little bit in the comments. More than welcome. And you touched on Ranieri, though. You said it was a bit of a surprise. Do you think he's the right appointment?
I think it's as well as they can do. They're not building something, I think, is a key. I think if you're a Watford fan, you've got to live in the moment. If you ever get a really good player, I don't even mean like a player as good as Declan Rice, all right? Because West Ham are going to struggle to hang on to Declan Rice, but we've done so for 2 or 3 seasons. The moment you get a whiff of a good player at Watford, he's going to be off. And that's just what's going to happen. So you've got to live in the moment. You've got to enjoy the now, because are you confident that in 2 or 3 seasons' time, things are going to be getting better? Are you confident when that young player comes through that he's going to be there and you're going to supplement him with another experienced player who you're going to go and spend £40 million on and so on and build a team like that? No, you're not going to do it. So I think with that in mind, actually the short-term manager in terms of Ranieri is probably fine, experienced guy to try and get the best out of what's there, because what's there probably ain't going to be there for very long and is probably in a constant state of flux, the squad, just as the managerial situation is. If there's they're basically the exit door and the welcome mat are being used just as frequently for everything. Really, just fast flow of staff through that club. So almost doesn't matter, Gio. And I don't mean that to be disparaging. That's just how it looks from the outside about Watford.
Yeah, I think Ranieri. I was surprised as well when they got him in because they got him in very quickly too, and I thought I'm unsure about this one. I know he'd done well with Leicester, obviously winning the league and stuff, but I think the difference was when he took over Leicester, they were already winning. Pearson had got them in a little bit of momentum and a bit of a run. He almost just used what Pearson was doing and went with it. And obviously there were a few additions and went on. It was probably the best achievement I've ever seen in the Premier League.
Yes.
But the similarities, I guess, between Watford and Leicester are that at Leicester, he wasn't really in charge of recruitment. There was a team that found players like Riyad Mahrez and N'Golo Kanté and brought them to the Premier League and said, there you go, Claudio, use them. And you went, yeah, right. And you look at Watford and you get the impression that Ranieri probably won't be in charge of the transfers there either. And even their transfer strategy is hard to really put a finger on it, where they've got some exciting young talents in there, like Sarr, the prime example. They've got a bargain in Dennis, one of the possibly the signing of the season for me. They've got Dennis in there. But then they've got someone like Danny Rose, and you think, hang on a minute, this just contradicts what you've just done elsewhere in team. Gone and got Sissoko in as well, and there's no theme to the players they're bringing in. It's almost like who's available. We'll just pick a little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's like a mix in match battles. Like they've gone back to Woolworths, gone to the pick and mix, and so I'll have a bit of that, a bit of that. And that is Watford. It's Woolworths pick and mix. And we know what happened to Woolworths. Didn't work. Well, decide if it works in a minute or not, because Gonzo, I'll tell you one thing that does work, though. That's the One Football app. If you want to keep up to date with the latest games that's been postponed by COVID, there's a lot of them. You can do it via this app. If you want to keep up to date with the squad at Watford, because there's a lot of changes. And Gonzo, the best football app for the football fan.
It is a wonderful, wonderful football app, by the way. And whether you support West Ham or whether you support Watford, if you want to find out exactly who Watford's next manager is going to be, then just when you download the One Football app, click that you support Watford, and it'll put all that news into one place for you. Of course, you're a West Ham supporter, click you support West Ham, and you'll get all the daily news, the transfer news, the injury news, hopefully not too much of that, and everything else all put in together in one place. Best of all, it's free.
Links in description. Get it downloaded today and keep up to date with the latest going on around the Premier League. I guess a big question, Gonzo, is do you think Watford will stay up? Is that a recipe for success?
It's touch and go. I'm looking at the league now. Gee, they've got a couple of games in hand, which obviously, as you alluded to, because they've not played very much. That being said, last 5 games, 4 losses, 1 win. That ain't enough to keep you up. That being said, the form around them is not an awful lot better at all. The trouble is you expect people like Everton to get better. Newcastle, what are they going to do? It is going to be touch and go, really. Watford are going to be looking at teams like Leeds, or can Brentford drop down or something like that. They stand a very, very good chance of getting relegated.
I think they stand a decent enough chance of staying up as well. It's hard to call. The Premier League in general is hard to call this year. You can make a case for everybody down the bottom half as to why they would stay in the Premier League. I guess I'm going to make a mini one for Watford, and that is since Ranieri come in, I think they've got a bit of fight about them, actually. When I watched them, they've got a little bit of grit. They're well enough organised. They don't hold back with their challenges. They fight for each other. They're fighting for the manager, the fans, the club, whatever it is. And despite us sort of perhaps being a little bit dismissive of the way they've got to this point, Watford, in the running of the club, the pitch would suggest that Ranieri is doing something, or the players do actually like it, a Watford kind of thing. And I think if they get relegated, I don't think it'll be because of attitude. I think it'll be just because they're just not quite good enough, and there's just not enough good players in that squad. Because, like I said, I think they've got some good ones, but they've got Danny Rose at left back. They'll make a go of it, and the January transfer window is crucial for them and the clubs around them. It could be telling, and if the owners are serious about staying in Premier League long term, and that is their long term plan rather than just going between the divisions and stuff, then we'll see in January. And that we might give them an edge on some clubs like Burnley if they can get the recruitment right. And although when you're down the bottom, sometimes you just need one signing. Sometimes you just need one. But it's going to have to be Jesse Lingard level style, where not necessarily as a player ability, but in terms of level of impact that comes in and gets you goals, or comes in and just changes your defence. You get a goalkeeper that becomes a bit of a hero and gets clean sheets on his own. All it takes is one signing sometimes to just be enough between 18th and 17th. And I think that's almost what Watford need. But I think they'll make a go of it. I've been impressed by their attitude. What players have you been impressed by, Phil Gonzo? Players you admire at Watford, please.
Well, you sort of mentioned the two. Just in terms of Danny Rose, though. I mean, Danny Rose, have you noticed, got a massive telling off publicly from Ranieri. I mean, he accused him of just being not fit for professional football, and was pretty much what he said, which was a damning indictment, actually, of somebody that's, I believe, 32, something like that. He's not 50, right? It's just not, the accusation was quite clear. You're not taking it seriously. You're not motivated. You're not training. You're not, so there's a player that's let himself slide, certainly. I think, and funny enough, I believe our former player Ngakia played left back in one of the recent games. So that tells you everything you need to know there. I can only, look, you're right with Sarr and Dennis. I mean, they've looked absolutely sensational, to be perfectly honest with you. Sarr, as someone that has impressed me for years and years, as you know, I say years, whatever, the 3 odd years he's been there, whatever that might have been. Really good player, Gio, really good player. Someone I would have liked at West Ham. I think there was a point where he was being linked with £50 million transfers here, there, and everywhere. Wouldn't have surprised me at all. And of course, they signed Josh King as well. Now, again, another player that we were linked with. I think it's worked out okay for them, bearing in mind that, did they pay anything to Everton for him? I don't know. They didn't. Then done all right, scored some goals. I mean, they can, they're going to be able to pose us problems, particularly with a rest. And if they've got Dennis, Sarr, and King on the pitch as well, then they're going to cause us some problems.
Yeah, they've got a couple of other options. Pedro, Hernandez as well. I think they're not too bad. We'd have had them at West Ham, possibly not, but they're not bad for squad depth and stuff. Sarr's someone I got wrong. I don't mind admitting it. I got him wrong when Watford first got relegated. I remember you wanting him a lot as well. I remember thinking he wouldn't be worth it in terms of value. What Watford wanted, I thought, I thought he was a bit too. He's a bit too Adama Traore for me. He looks good, but the end product I wasn't convinced was there, kind of thing. And I felt when they were in the Premier League last time, it was quite blind crosses he kept doing. I just thought he kept beating his man, just whack it into the ball. Even though there's no one there, he just whack it in anyway. And I just thought, I don't know if I want that. But this season, prior to his injury, I was very impressed by him. I have to say, I thought, all right, okay, maybe Gonzo was right on this one. Maybe he would have been good signing for West Ham. But Dennis is one that's impressed me the most. Signing of the season. I know Conor Gallagher is getting all the plaudits for obvious reasons stuff, but I think the difference is Gallagher's on loan. Dennis, they signed him for $3 million or something. Only Salah, could be wrong because they've not played for a couple of weeks, but certainly on the 10th of December, after their last game, only Salah had got more goals and assists than Dennis, and that is an outstanding record so far this season. And if Watford do stay up, they need to keep him fit. They need to keep him fit because a goal scorer is worth its weight in gold down the bottom of the table. They've got a goal scorer, but not only does he score goals, he creates goals as well. He does both, and that's not easy. And he's one of those players I look at and I just think, well, you might watch Watford and watch Sarr and think, I wish we got him. Actually, I watch Watford this season, look at Dennis and think, wish we got him, actually. He's had a bit of problems in the past. His attitude hasn't always been spot on and stuff. And I think that's why they got him for a bit of a cut price. It's working out. It's working out at the minute. And I'll tell you what, I think Kukai looks all right in centre. I'll tell you what, though. Everyone laughs at Sissoko. I used to laugh at Sissoko. He looks all right at Watford. Giving him the captain's armband already and stuff. And he's playing like a bit of a warrior, a bit of a battler. You need that. When you're down the bottom table, you need players that are going to fight. He does that. He puts in 100% every game. I'm relatively impressed, but defensively, I'm not sure they're good enough defensively for the Premier League. Anyway, enough about Watford. Shall we discuss West Ham, Gonzo?
Yeah.
Do we have to? Bad news, I'm afraid. Alan Creswell doesn't look like he's back anytime soon. Moyes still hasn't put a timeline on it, but the latest news is what it was before, which is chipped a bone. We don't know when he's back, so that's Creswell not playing this game. But also more bad news, Declan Rice is suspended. He picked up his 5th booking of the season in the defeat to Southampton, which means he's suspended for this game. I guess the slight good news is because this is Matchday 19, no other player can get suspended. Fornals and Antonio on 3 yellow cards, but they cannot reach 5 and get suspended. So the next benchmark for any players getting suspended is 10 yellow cards. But Rice misses this one, which poses a big problem. But before we get on to the big problem, we've got another big problem. The defence. How would you like to see us line up for this one, Gonzo?
Okay, let's have a little think about this one. Well, I would like to see us set up with Ben Johnson at left back for this. I think it's really key that we do that. It's hard to know whether to shift to three at the back. I think there's a temptation to do that, but have we got the personnel to do it? I'm not sure we do. Masuaku's form's been so bad, I'm not even sure I want him at left wing back either. And then obviously we've got a dearth of options as centre half. So I think you're going to have to go with. I mean, he doesn't really. I've got to say, Soufal doesn't deserve to play based on his last game against Southampton. But if we do that, no one plays. So we can't leave everybody out because of the Southampton game.
Well, you got Fredericks and Ashby.
You do, but Fredericks hasn't played for a long time. He's going to be. There's no way he can be match fit. He's not even played under 23 football, as far as I know. Look, I mean, I agree. By the way, what we said on the Patreon, what you said on the Patreon, I think Ashby did better against Tottenham than Soufal did against Southampton. But Soufal is a really good player, and I think also he's had a break. So I don't think he's going to be knackered. So I'd still put him in for the experience there. Dawson, Diop, and Ben Johnson left back.
I completely agree with you. Actually, I just think I worry that this the thing with Ashby against Tottenham, while he played well, he played right wing back. He had Ben Johnson behind him. He had that extra layer of protection. And I don't want to switch to three at the back against Watford. We need to win this game. I think the best chance of us not losing is probably to play three at the back. But I don't want that mentality. I don't want to go there and play for a point. We've got to get all 3 points. There's absolutely no chance of points good enough for us tomorrow. We need the win, and the best chance to get the win, I think, is by having that extra attacker on the pitch, and that means 4 at the back. And I just think it would be a big ask to play Ashby there. And with Soufal, on paper, at least you've got one of your first choice back four. You put Ashby in there, with respect to him, you've now got none of your first choice back four. But I completely agree with you with Ben Johnson and Masuaku. The only left back I want to see Masuaku is left back at the London Stadium for this game. He shouldn't even be on the bench as far as I'm concerned, but we'll get into that. Johnson has to start. The problem Moyes has got defensively, we don't know where Dennis will play. Dennis pops up anywhere. Sometimes he's centre forward, sometimes he plays on the right, and sometimes he plays on the left. It's going to be difficult to prepare to almost look after him, because you do need to look after him. Sometimes as a player so good in another team, you've got to have a bit of a special requirement for him. I think Dennis is that good for Watford, that influential. Hopefully he plays on the left against Soufal, but we'll wait and see. Now, the middle of the park, I think, is where the big problem and dilemma comes in, Gonzo, because there's no Declan Rice. So how do we go about that? Essentially, you've only got 2 or 3 options anyway. We don't have loads of personnel to pick from, but what would you like to see done in the middle?
Well, it's the other key decision, of course, and this could massively go in our favour, actually. And I'm not saying we're a better team without Declan Rice, but it gives Moyes to do an opportunity to do what he needs to do, which is to liberate Souček. So I'd get Král in there and get that partnership, which we know that they've got from the national team. I'd also drop Lanzini in there as well, to make a nice little tidy midfield three, which I think has everything. I've got, so Král, his only job, he's not got the complexities and the confusion added to that Declan Rice, Souček has got, which is who goes and who stays. No, you stay, Král, you stay. Lanzini, you knit everything together. Give and go, pass and move, and all the rest of it. Souček, you know what you've got to do, mate. You know what you've got to do. It's going to get you in there. You're going to hang around. You're going to get on the D, and then when the crosses come over, you're going to make a late run into the box and bang, edit in. That's got to be the tactic with this game.
We're going to have the same 11, which is unusual. We don't often have the same complete 11, but I agree with the little triangle in the middle of the park here. Watford play with 3 centre midfielders, usually 2. I think we'd be foolish, particularly since we're missing Declan Rice, not to match him up in the middle of the pitch. I think you only put 2 in there. I think you're asking for trouble. You're asking to get bullied, physically bullied. Watford will come and fight for it, whether it's Cleverley, Kuka, Sissoko. I'd imagine that's their midfield 3. They'll be up for it. They will cause us problems in there. They will tough tackles going in as well. And I want to see Král in here too, because has he been man of match or anything like that when we've seen him? No, but I think he's looked all right. And one of those games was against Man United in the Cup. But again, it was Man United's second team, granted, but I thought he looked all right in it. I think he's looked okay in European football. But I can't then say about Dawson and Diop and say, well, it's not a fair barometer, that, and then use it for Kral. We haven't seen him enough. I don't know if he's going to be good. He might be crap, right? He might be useless. But we don't know. We've not found out yet. He's not been given an opportunity. So this opportunity presents itself through the suspension of Declan Rice. And we might discover something. We might discover that actually Alex Carl is man of match. That's a fantastic game at defensive midfield. And then the next game, it says, well, actually, we've now got options. Because at the moment, it feels like we don't have options in the middle of the park. It's like it's got to be Rice and Souček. There's no other way of playing. If Carl comes in and plays well, at least Moyes has got a small dilemma for the next game, which is, well, he doesn't deserve to be dropped. So what am I going to do here? Am I going to play Rice and Souček with him, or am I going to drop Souček, or what am I going to do? That's how I'd like to see Kral defensive midfield with Lanzini and Souček in front of him. And let's get Souček in the box for this game. Please, can we get Souček in the box? So that leaves your front three, which I think is going to be the same as mine. Take it away.
It is. Obviously, Bowen, I say it is, I don't know. Bowen, Vlasic and Antonio.
Yes. Is there any order you'd like to see them in? I guess who's a striker is the question.
I'll put Antonio as striker for this one. Yeah, I'll stick Bowen on the right, Vlasic on the left. I don't think it matters. Vlasic, from what I've seen, is adaptable on either way. Probably more adaptable than Bowen, actually. On either wing. Bowen's obviously going to play at centre forward or on right, but I haven't noticed that Vlasic is any better on the right or the left. In fact, he got his assist from the left, didn't he, in Europe. So I think you get your guarantee in work rate with those two on the wings as well. And I think we're going to need to work hard. They're going to need to get back and help out their respective fullbacks as well. So I've got every confidence that they'll do that as well. Hopefully Antonio's motivated and back on the goal scoring form with his header against Southampton.
I'd still like to see Antonio on the wing for this one. The Bowen experiments, 2 games. I think he's had one really good game up front against Tottenham, really good goal. And against Southampton, it didn't work. But more reason for Antonio is because he's possibly going to be up against Danny Rose. And he's dreadful. He's so bad. I can't remember what game I watched. It was a Liverpool one. And I'm aware Salah is the best player in the league and stuff. But I'm telling you what, I've not seen a defender play so badly in such a short period of time as he did. And it wasn't even like he was getting skinned by Salah. He was just missing. He was gone. He wasn't where he was meant to be. And okay, Rose might play Ngaki or something, but you know something, it doesn't matter who Watford play. I would bet and expect Antonio to dominate that left back throughout 90 minutes, physically, for speed, whatever. I just want to see Antonio put in almost like a man of match performance. I think the best chance of giving him that is have an immediate opponent on the right. I think Bowen struggled a little bit striker against Southampton, but the players behind him didn't play very well. There wasn't that really interchange and wasn't that passion. I think with Lanzini behind him and Vlasic in the team as well, and Antonio to some extent, I think we give Bowen a better chance as striker. I think Bowen's finish against Tottenham justifies playing him up front for one more game kind of thing. So matching 11, Gonzo, not very often. 1 win in 7 for West Ham heading into this game, Gonzo. A bit of an important one.
Oh, massively important. Yeah. There's no. Look, we're only going in one direction at the moment. The only question is, and we will arrest the slide at some point. We're not getting relegated, but when is the question? When will we arrest that slide? And so sooner rather than later, because I would suggest top 4's gone now. The slide has cost us top 4. How long it goes on is whether we can get European football for next season, which is going to be very, very important if we're looking to build a squad. Build a squad that can cope with European football this season. Then we get there and then we have a squad next season built for European football and no European football. So a very important game. Yeah,
I completely agree with you. I think it's for various reasons. I think it's for morale, to some extent for the players, but also the fans. I think the fans are getting a little bit frustrated a minute now. They're seeing, and it's the hope that kills you, they're saying. I know, big picture, we were in a relegation battle, blah, 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 a few years ago. I don't really care. Last season, we qualified for European football. I've had a taste of it this season. I've enjoyed it. I want it again next season. You know, we want to attract players, and we've been linked to Jonathan David. There's no way we're attracted to someone like Jonathan David in the summer without European football. So what we do this season very much determines what happens in the summer in terms of transfer activity. But also, I think what we do in the next 2 games against Watford and Palace could be crucial as to what we do in the January transfer window. My fear at the minute is that if we don't pick up if we don't pick up 6 points in the next 2 games, I think 4 puts us in a bit of a grey area. But I think the board would almost be a bit reluctant, perhaps, to splash the cash and say, well, hang on a minute, you're not going to get 4th. You might get 5th or 6th. Because the squad, in the form, even the form at the moment, the squad is good enough for top half, right? Even a bad season for West Ham in terms of results and stuff, we'd probably still finish 9th or 10th. At the start of the season, I would have taken that, given the European run that we're on and stuff. I'd been okay with it. But it's changed. My targets have changed. My aspirations have changed because we've had such good form. And I think if you're going into the January transfer window with an aim of finishing top half, we probably don't need to spend much money. But we want to finish in European football, we're going to have to get the checkbook out. And I think the next 2 games almost determines what our aims are for the end of the season, which then has a domino effect of possibly how much we spend in the January transfer window. That's my fear at the minute with this form, that it's almost like the board might get a little bit reluctant to spend a good chunk of money. You said you wanted to see Moyes get 60 million. I want to see him get at least 40. I'm not confident you'd get that if we're looking at finishing 7th or 8th in the Premier League. The bench, Gonzo. I had a little rant at you earlier.
Not at me.
Mini version of it. Well, about the bench, but you were just unfortunately in the video nodding away listening.
What you want me?
Well,
the bench is important. Yeah, no. I mean, you were basically saying that the bench had lacked balance. That we had 3 fullbacks on the bench, no centre halves. You were complaining that, even though it's quite clear Yarmolenko's not going to do anything, yet Moyes is sort of sticking with him and throws him on a whim and a prayer when there's people like Oko Flex, who really, you would hope does have a future at the club, is not being used. And there doesn't seem to be really much ambition on the bench. And I think one of your main gripes was that still, when it comes down to the nitty-gritty, still just prefers an experienced player. So, as you mentioned, even if we got an injury at centre half, so centre half at the bench, and why was that? Well, probably it's Moyes thinks it's better to move Soufal to centre half or whatever the option might be than actually put Elise on there or something like that. And it's a little bit of a hindrance and leaves us with an unbalanced bench and actually nothing off the bench where we can impact a game when a game is not going well.
Yeah, I think the bench is important tomorrow. I want to see changes from Moyes, not with the starting 11, but also with the bench. I know it's going to happen, but I will get a bit disheartened. I've got a feeling he'll drop Masuaku, right? But let's just say tomorrow the team comes out, the starting 11's good. Let's just say it goes with that. Happy days. But when you start reading the bench out, we're probably going to have Ashby and Fredericks, 2 right backs, no centre back. We'll have Masuaku on there, then we'll still have Yarmolenko on there. And I just think you're almost tying your own hands behind your back here, because you're including these players, you're restricting your flexibility off the bench. I looked at Southampton's bench and I thought, there they go, right back, left back, centre midfielder, striker, winger. I thought, wow, there's a balanced bench. You look at ours and you think, we don't have that. And funny enough, the disadvantage of playing Antonio is you lose that impact sub off the bench. The one good thing with Antonio being on the bench is, well, we need him, he's there. Yes, we have Fernandes and Ben Rama on the bench, but I don't have any faith in bringing them on to do something. But I've got more faith in them than Yarmolenko. I just don't want to see Yarmolenko and Masuaku on the bench, to be honest with you. I don't see the purpose for it. Left back gets injured, Ben Johnson gets injured. You could put Harrison Ashby over there, put Fredericks on at left back, have Elise on the bench. Elise can play left back. We know that. I just want to see a bit more balance. And I want to see a reaction from Moyes as well as the players tomorrow. Are you confident for this one?
No, not even remotely. No, I think he'll. I have a look. If he plays the team that we've said, I'm confident we can win this game. But I think he's going to play Masuaku. I think he's going to play Manoble. And I think we'll get killed. Basically, I think Sarr will literally like Sarr. Oh, is he?
Yeah, Sarr's injured.
Oh well, Masuaku's a lucky boy. He's a lucky boy because he would have been bringing his butter knife, Sarr, to have his Masuaku on toast, Okay,
I like that one. That was a good one.
It's okay, but if you've still got Dennis there, Dennis will still pull him to bits. It's actually not fair. It's not, honestly. It's not fair on Masuaku. It's like dropping a little poodle puppy into a pit bull fight. Do you know what I mean? It's just not fair. He's going to get savaged, and You need to take him, you need to take him out and protect him and send him to the RSPCA. And I have just compared it to a dog, but not, look, I mean in a nice way. Nice fluffy dog. And I think Noble's not physical enough and not mobile enough to deal with the midfield. I think we'll be getting overrun and he'll be fouling people whilst they're running past him and conceding all sorts of trouble. I think we'll be inviting trouble. I think there's one team where we're proactive, where we go at them, where it's high energy down the wings, and then both Souček and Antonio in the box causing their problems. Give them something to think about, so they're backtracking, they're pulling their players back and having something to defend. I think that's one way of playing it. The other thing is basically go on and bring your dribblers on to us, and you attack us, and we'll sit back and we'll soak it up. And we're not good enough to soak it up at the moment. They'll just score. And that thing in midfield, you talk about Sissoko. Sissoko's a brute. He's an absolute brute. He's big. He's fast. He's strong. And I'm sorry. I'd rather have Crow on there to deal with him, who is also actually deceptively quick and also big and strong. We've got to really be careful in this one.
So is that Kuka, however you say his name, he's a force as well. I don't know if he's Serbian or something, and players like it too. It could be snowing tomorrow. He'll come out with short sleeves. If anything, he'd cut them off if he could, so he could get his muscles out. He's a warrior in the middle of the park, and I fear the worst tomorrow. I really do. I think we're there to be bullied, outfought to some extent, and it's bad because I never thought I'd feel like this. A couple of months ago, you told me I'd be feeling this. I'd have laughed at you. They've not had a game since the 10th of December, and I can't decide if that's a good thing or not. It doesn't mean they'll be a little bit rusty. It doesn't mean they're all refreshed with their feet up kind of thing. But not only that, we've played literally 48 hours ago. Moyes is probably feeling that he's going to have to freshen it up in some way, and he's going to have to bring certain players in and rest certain players and stuff. And we'll wait and see which Watford players, if they're all back from COVID or they're still missing a couple, because it was Watford that got their game called off a couple of days ago as well. So we don't really know the Watford team, but they're in a better situation than us. Their form's bad. It's better than ours. If you were to sit around, you pick any team you want to play tomorrow, who do you want to play? I wouldn't be surprised if you said West Ham plays. They had a game 2 days ago, and look at the form they're in. I'll have that one at home as well. Get the fans up for it on a bank holiday as well. The festive stuff's done. We don't have to play on Boxing Day with a depleted crowd. We'll have a full house at Vicarage Road. We'll get out of West Ham. We'll get in their faces. We'll put in a couple of crunchy tackles early doors. The fans will be on their feet cheering us on, kind of thing. And I just think that this has got the potential to be a bad day for West Ham. But the frustrating thing is we've got better players than Watford. We've got a better team than Watford. Even with the injuries that we've got, we still have a better team on paper. I just wish the bloody thing was played on paper at the minute, because then we'd win tomorrow. It's not. It's got me fearing the worst, actually. So can I get any final words from yourself, Gonzo, as well? Your score prediction, please.
I mean, look, as I say, I think if we play the team that we want, I think we win. But my score prediction is not based on that. That's what Moyes is going to do. I think Moyes does that and we lose 2-1.
Ooh. I fear the worst as well. I think, like you said, I think he'll play Mark Noble. I think he might stick with Masuaku in the team. I think we might even switch to 3 at the back to try and counteract the defensive problems and stuff. And the funny thing is, while we were bad defensively against Southampton, I felt that our attack was a lot more alarming in the sense that we created next to nothing from open play, but he'll focus on the defence rather than the attack. That worries me. Watford will play ugly. They will launch the ball into the box and try and score that way, and I think it might work. And we don't often say the same score, but I'm going to say Watford 2, West Ham 1 as well. That's not good. That's not good.
No.
3 o'clock kickoff tomorrow, which means at 1:55 we will be live with our build-up show, followed by our watch-along, followed by our live review. Hammers Chat, your one-stop shop for everything you need on the West Ham match day. If you've enjoyed this preview, you will if you're a Watford fan. Drop a like on there, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Myself and Gonzo, we'll catch you tomorrow.